Good morning, afternoon, evening, or night, everybody. My name is Bill Woodcock, and welcome to another edition of Forward Maryland, the podcast by Gen X, about Gen X, and for everybody. I am the author of available on Amazon now. No, that's not the name of the book, but the book is called The Gen X Experience Technology, available on Amazon and at other reputable online booksellers worldwide. What we are here to talk about today, or tonight, or however you are, whenever you are viewing and or hearing this, we are not here to talk about my book. We are not even here to talk about technology. We are here to talk about that staple of celebrations the world over. The Chinese gave it to us. The Americans have used it to great effect, especially on the 4th of July holiday, which was only recently here in the US. We are talking about fireworks. Now, growing up in the 70s, I was taught to have a great fear of fireworks. So I don't think I need to mansplain fireworks to anybody, but we've all seen fireworks. Those things that shoot off and explode, they are mini rockets. So that's essentially what a firework is, a little tiny baby rocket that is set off by a fuse. There's a gunpowder charge that, provides propulsion. And then attached to the gunpowder charge are some chemicals of either various types of powdered metals or mixed powdered metals. And the explosion of this gunpowder charge in the little rocket sets off the fireworks. And also, the fireworks can be packed in such a way so that they form trails, they form shapes, colors, all sorts of fun. It's a blast. It is literally a blast. So beautiful, lovely, sparkly, colorful. Who would want to play with them? Except if you play with them, they'll blow your damn hand off, which is exactly what we were told in the 70s. And oh my goodness, not a firework holiday could go by. Independence Day, New Year's Day, some team winning the World Series or the Super Bowl, that if you're going to go out and celebrate with fireworks, here are things you do not do. First off, you do not buy illegal fireworks from somewhere. Now, I don't know who's doing this, illegal fireworks. I don't know who is packing fireworks away on the sly. I know what it means. I mean, here in Maryland, you can only buy so many types of fireworks, and then even local ordinances. Like, for example, in my county, you can only buy sparklers, and those little things, those little tissue paper things that you push between your fingers and it makes a pop. Snapping pops, I think they call them here. Sparklers and snapping pops are the only things you can buy. However, if I go 45 minutes north into Pennsylvania, I could buy a lot more. I could buy smoke bombs. I could buy things that shoot up into the air. I could buy things that explode. I can buy things that snake around the ground and shake and whistle and explode. I can do almost anything. But those are yet still different than the commercial grade fireworks, which seem to be only the purview of a handful of you know, fireworks manufacturers and people who can handle fireworks. So, them's the rules. And the rules were made because back in the olden times, people cannot be responsible with fireworks. So, a very simple type of a firework is literally a stick of dynamite, which is otherwise known as an M320. When I was growing up, what was very popular was the M80, which is a quarter stick of a dynamite. There was the M60, which is a sixth of a stick of dynamite, and the M the M40, which is a quarter of a stick of dynamite. Actually, do I have that mixed up? No. An M80 was a quarter, an M60 was a fifth or a sixth. Because for some reason, a whole stick of dynamite is an M320. I don't know why the hell it's a 320. Like, what is base 320? I don't get it. And an eighth of a stick of dynamite was an M40. Okay. So if you were a kid my age and you got your hands on an M80, it was on. It was one of those things that made you feel like friggin' Scarface because, you have a friggin' quarter stick of dynamite in your hand. You could blow shit up with it. And there are stories of people blowing things up that they shouldn't blow up. Anywhere from, there were people, I remember people I grew up with who used to buy these model cars and they would spend like a week buying a model car, putting it together, customizing it, painting it, and making it look quite nice. And then they would go blow it up. They would stick an M80 under it and blow it up. There goes $20 of their parents' money gone. It doesn't make sense to me. There are people who would use M80s and the like for more destructive things, and I will not speak about that other than to say that's rotten and that's bad. But then there are people who would just let off M80s first for fun. Hey, M80 is a stick of dynamite. It does not do sparkly things. It blows up. Okay? It makes a big cloud. It makes a big flash. It makes a boom. There's a concussion out of it, a concussion blast. An M80 is not fun. Yet people decided to use these M80s. And of course, when you light the fuse, what better thing to do than to hold the damn thing? So some people would hold these M80s or similar. M40 will do the same thing. And they would literally blow their hand off or a good part of their hand off if it was a less powerful firework, less powerful stick of dynamite. I cannot, and I will very rarely in this podcast ever question the wisdom of Darwin. But the wisdom of Darwin I question here is why did it just stop at the hand? If you're going to stick a quarter stick of dynamite in your in on your body, go all out. Stick it in your mouth. Do the world a favor. Stick it under your arm. Stick it on your chest. Stick it. Hold it between your legs. Do something to yourself where you could just really take yourself out. Because when all you do is you stick it in your hand, you blow your full hand off, and then people have to take care of you, and that's ridiculous. So because people are blowing their hands off, or because people are looking over their M80s, and then get their head blown off, or a good bit of their head blown off, or between people who are doing other stupid things with M80s, the rest of us can't play with fireworks. So there's that. So in the 70s, we were learned to leave firework handling to those trained professionals, and if we ever saw an M80, report it to the authorities. Actually, nobody ever told me to report illegal fireworks to the authorities. Because people will be people and people will go do whatever they want to do if ever they're told not to do something. So, as the decades have gone on, firework technology is becoming more family friendly, more safe, more reasonable, you know? And now, as I made mention earlier in this podcast, you can go 45 minutes from here. There are a couple of purveyors of fireworks in the great Commonwealth of Pennsylvania where I can go over, I can walk into the store, I can buy the fireworks that I wish, and I can leave, and I can come back to the great state of Maryland and shoot them off whenever I wish. Now, there's just one catch. I have to show them my driver's license, which is, my identification as to where I'm from, and they have to make note of it. So as they make note of it, they see that I'm from Maryland. So that ostensibly tells me that if anything happens in the state of Maryland having to do with an illegal firework and I can get attached to it, I can get in trouble. So I better not be the one sticking my hand on the M80. You know, um, I'm going to make an admission. I may have let off some fireworks in the state of Maryland, but I've never gotten into trouble. Um, Generally, the ones I let off are smoky. You know, they have little fuses to them. And once the little fuse go down, some smoke comes out. It billows. It forms colors. It's pretty. I go cool, and that's about it. Um, Not exactly dangerous. Not exactly sure why I can't have those things. And of course, if anybody out there is listening and going, we're going to get that woodcock for firing off fireworks. Well, give me proof because maybe I'm just telling the story for the podcast. Maybe I'm not, but maybe I am. You don't know. So I don't understand why we don't have more access to fireworks than we do, at least here in my state. I don't understand why we as people don't have more access to fireworks than than we do other things. Because here's another thing people do at Fourth of July, New Year's Eve, your firework holidays. They fire guns into the air. So you heard me mention projectile connected to a gunpowder based charge. That's a bullet. That's a bullet. I mean, it's not rocket propelled, but combustion is propelling a projectile. And so people who are too lazy or too stupid or too ridiculous to go get sparklers or snapping pops or M80s or smoke bombs or to just go over the damn border and just go get whatever you want, bring it back and fire it. Hell, fire it there if you want to. Um, they will have a weapon and will take their weapons outside and fire them into the air. Whoopee! Isn't that fun? It's only fun until somebody gets hit by a projectile on the way down and gets killed, which happens more often than one would care to admit. Again, sad Darwin taking over because you would have to be in the vicinity of some idiot shooting a gun in the air to get taken out by a stray bullet like that. And people do that. So it's Darwin by association. But it's still sad nonetheless. And also, why are people shooting guns in the air? They're shooting guns in the air because they need better access to fireworks. So let's work on that. But today, where is my relationship with fireworks? It's in a good place. I saw all the fireworks I wanted to see for July 4th this year. I saw them at in my little town where in which I live. I saw two official fireworks displays. I must have seen at least a half dozen unofficial slash illegal fireworks displays, and they were all fun. They were all joyful. It would seem that they were all safe. No housing caught on fire. Nobody died. No one blew off a hand. I'm sure a number of household animals were ticked off at the night, but that's sad. So it was a good time. So Gen X, let's not be afraid of fireworks anymore. There's nothing to be afraid of. They told us a whole bunch of crap. As we're showing our kids and our grandkids fireworks, let's show them how to treat them safely. Let's show them how to use them safely. We'll also tell them there's nothing to be afraid of. Just be aware. Just be aware of how to take care of yourself, and you can't go wrong. That does it for today's edition of Before We Go. On our next edition, we talk about a subject that's just going to warm everybody's hearts. I talked about fireworks in this episode. Next episode, I'm going to be talking about the ultimate fireworks. I am going to talk about our fear of nuclear war. Certainly something that is a solitary next problem. So till then, my name is Bill Woodcock. You've been watching or listening to another edition of But Before We Go. Have a great day, everybody. Take care.